How far would you go to protect your loved ones? To prove your worth to them? How far are you willing to push yourself in the name of retaining your humanity? What would it take to get you to sacrifice it willingly? Would you hurt others? Hurt yourself? Would you break the heart of the very person you swore to keep safe? Would you break the world? Would you kill God? This is the story of one man as he fights against the currents of his better nature to remain the protector he believes himself to be. This is the story of a mortal as he is pushed to the edge of his morality, as he is pushed to seek punishment against the gods for their crimes against their creation, against him. This is Godkiller Retribution. You're falling, hurtling back towards Earth. You can see it like a pinprick of light, that orange dome with a smear of dark blue over it. Is there anything you would like to do before you engage Vosh in combat?
Before Baku took me, I had built momentum that was familiar. It belonged to the hunter. It was primal, and in this case mixed with something that did not belong to the hunter, which was anger. The anger is there, but as I look beyond to this thing that I had been calling a monster, every word from every god that I have spoken to up until this point is dancing around in my mind, and this one undeniable truth that if they are all people, so is Vosh. That anger becomes righteous, and it becomes no longer primal. And that calm that I was forced into now becomes a choice to keep. And as I look forward, and I see the lines that I had been following and running alongside, an army of me, ghostly, rushing up and through all lines of possibility leading into this battle, and then through, out, beyond, into a white, swirling horizon like a backdrop behind where they're fighting. I deliberately close my eyes to those possibilities, and I reach a hand out as though I'm scooping up all of the versions of me and manifest the casting of them out of my mind, and I throw them into that horizon and let it be blurry and let it be beyond my vision and let it swirl around the fight. Right now, I need to focus on what is and what I must do. And I ready my weapon. The new side of the spear, held forward. And I do not cry out, nor do I try to hide myself. I simply stride forward and engage.
As you step forward, you come face to face with an intense blaze of heat. you stand in front of this wall of fire, assessing how to get through. And then, as if whipped by an unseen weapon, it parts. Just quick enough for you to duck in. And as you do, you see Seraphine's hand outstretched, eyes locked on you like she knew you were coming in these moments. She doesn't say anything, but you can see in her eyes there is a determination and a relief, but also a worry. She doesn't have time to linger as Vosh lashes out at her one more time before following her eyeline to you.
Look who decided to play. I didn't think I would get both of you in one day. How lucky for me.
What would you like to do?
Have they full stopped the fight for a moment to stop and regard me and speak to me in that moment?
Yes. You see that Seraphine had to dodge a couple steps back away from Vosh to get out of reach of their claws. So you are kind of at the edge of this fiery bubble, triangulated with Seraphine, with Vosh in the middle.
I hold the spear in a defensive position for a moment, angled toward them. But I don't crouch. There's nothing predatory in this. I'm standing tall with my chin forward, and this wall of fire, in a lightless world, it creates this glow against the darkness. And as it illuminates the gray of me, I think there's this moment, standing tall in this stance, where my skin shines like armor. And for the first time in my life, I am not a hunter but a knight. And I think even to my own surprise, the rage remains distant. You calling this a game? It only serves what I have come to learn about you, about your kind. Not even learned, confirmed. You are all of you still people, and I have treated every one of your kin as such. And it has gotten me this far. I cannot continue to call you a monster. You have a name, Vosh, and you have intentions. You have a purpose. I have fought many monsters before. Their purpose is to feed and consume. But they are not evil. People are evil. It's a unique quality. The capacity for evil and good. It's what your kind and mine have in common. You have chosen to do ill. And I have chosen to fulfill my obligation, to end that evil and strike it from this world.
They straighten up. Arms outstretched to their sides, palms up, fingers slightly curled.
Your hubris will be the death of you.
And they move to attack you. What would you like to do as they rush so fast towards you?
I see them coming, and beyond is a swirling white nebula of possibilities. Knowing that this is a crucial moment, this is the crucial moment. There are potentially infinite outcomes to this. Too many to count. And I know that if I had a mind to, I could take myself out of this moment and use the tool that was given to me and try to really meaningfully peer into that, to see what I should do. But it wouldn't show me what I should do necessarily, it would show me what I could do. Every action matters. So instead of looking to that, I look to Seraphine. Because in charging at me, they have given her an opening. So I am going to try and intuit any facial signals from her and create any sort of defensive posture or move to leave them open for Seraphine to strike. Now, would this constitute a challenge someone dangerous move to potentially leave them open? Because I noticed that on a success it says they rise to the bait, and I think this is me attempting to bait, to create a trap.
Yes, I think that would do just nicely. When you challenge someone dangerous in front of an audience, say what foolish or risky action you hope they'll take and roll 2d6. Add 1 for each true statement. They care about your opinion. No. They think they're stronger than you. Yes. The crowd is on your side. The crowd being Seraphine, absolutely. So that is 2d6 plus 2.
Right on the money. Finally. So that is a 7 on the die and a 9. And I would just like to take a moment to acknowledge the fact that mechanically Vos has achieved so many overkills throughout this entire story. I think I have rolled more overkills than straight successes or failures. And in this moment, the fact that 9 is the threshold, I think there's the representation of that is that I am holding back every instinct that I have to actually be the one to attack. But I am trusting my companion. I am doing the smarter, more protective play, but you see how hard I am clutching this like the staff of the spear. Like power is trying to explode out of me, and I am holding my position. And also fighting back a smile. In understanding the gravity and what I'm able to do in this moment.
Many people in life need a balancing factor. to push them to grow while simultaneously leaving them grounded, keeping them grounded. That doesn't always have to come in the form of a person. But there is something to be said for when you find that person in your life, romantic or otherwise, who just by the nature of being themselves and being around you inspires you to be better. And Vos was without that person for so long. But now they're back together again. And it's like no time has passed. You lock eyes with Seraphine in the split second that Vosh is rushing towards you. You have a moment of silent conversation, and she understands immediately what you're trying to do. As you roll this success and Vosh rises to meet this bait, she understands that you're still on the edge of this bubble of fire, of godly fire. And she knows that the only way to kill a god is with divinity. And she outstretches her hand at the final second. You see her mutter a word under her breath, and you feel a tether from her to you, pulling you out of the way of Vosh's trajectory. You feel this tether wrap around you. The material space around your person, your immediate being, swirls in a vortex as you are teleported next to her. And you watch as Vosh is moving too quickly to process what just happened, and they run full tilt into this wall of fire, and you hear them scream out. It's a guttural, animalistic scream. It does not sound like something that would come from a person. And as their face sparks against this wall of fire, something happens. You're not choosing to actively tap into this energy of possibility, but it's still always around you. It's still always waiting. It's more like you have to choose to let it in rather than reach for it now. It constantly wants to be talking to you, and you have to choose to listen or choose to shut it out. But in this moment, you have never used this power in direct combat before, or had to deal with this amount of power in direct combat, and I don't think you get a choice. This power of Osaki's makes itself known in this moment, and you are flashed as you are brought to Seraphine's side, and you're hearing this scream from Vosh. You look over at her, and she's holding a baby. And the scream of Vosh is mixed and then drowned out with this scream of this baby as you watch her as like a marionette brought to life. She was frozen. And when you look at her, she starts playing out this scene of bouncing this baby that has gray skin and red eyes and teeny tiny little fangs. A vampiric baby. How would that even work? But you're seeing it here, so it must be possible. What do you think as you look upon this scene?
I think I am snapped into this reality like a rubber band. And in that moment, if one were to look at that in slow motion, that moment of recoil when it reaches, the two ends of the rubber band reach their closest point to each other, where there's that little wobble inward from the side that was launched. And that wobble inward is where I collide with the ghost of myself in this possibility. And in that brief moment where I am this version of myself, I understand it completely and feel like I belong there, and begin to say, I was mistaken. Anytime I thought that I knew what the perfect thing was, and then I am snapped into who I still currently am, and I'm superimposed over this echo of myself. No, where did... No! And I just look around. Honestly, my first thought would be looking for an exit somehow. But then I stop and I try to hold on to the calm that has gotten me this far in this fight. I am a deeply reactionary person. I am going to ride the wave of whatever works. And that worked. I know it did. I saw it. And the beauty of this moment, the perfection of this moment, is what a god is meant to amplify. The perfection of real life, of something mundane. Make it not mundane. And in this moment, this is everything I could have ever wanted. This is the most perfect thing I could ever see. So instead of looking for a door, I look for a road from the present to this moment.
There is no environment. You see this potential future played out within this dome of fire. You don't know where this is or when this is, but as you focus on a road, an avenue, a clue on what to do next to be able to further yourself along this specific path, you see an incorporeal road stretch out behind Seraphine's footsteps as she walks away from you, bouncing this baby. And it winds and it turns and it falls under your feet. And as you turn your head to look past it, you see in slow motion Vosh, half burned on one side, snarling and running towards Seraphine. The trajectory of where this potential Seraphine is moving now. And you get the sense that the first step to reaching this potential future is to stop Vosh from engaging them right now. What would you like to do?
If I can, assuming that I am still in the same physical space that I was in, I spin around and I swing the staff, but at the last moment, I loosen my grip and let the staff slide down until I'm holding it like almost like a baseball bat. I'm holding it right before where one of the spearheads begins. And I try to swing it out. It was a bit of a feint, and I am trying to clothesline them at the knees so that they fall.
I'd like you to roll to inflict violence. When you inflict violence on someone, roll 2d6. Add 1 for each true statement. They wish you harm. Absolutely. You're desperate. Are you desperate?
No. I think we're going to win.
It's personal. Absolutely. So that's 2d6 plus 2 once again.
Only 5.
On a miss 6 or less, the opposition seizes on a flaw in your approach. Suffer 2 strain and the GM will describe the corner you're backed into. You're trying to clothesline them. As you swing outward, trying to interrupt their trajectory, you see the eye in the middle of that spearhead flare with a pink flame. And you know that Chara has tuned in to watch the fight. However, that flare of color catches Vosh out of the corner of their eye, and they're able to see just in time what you're trying to do. They grab your spear. They pull it from your grasp. Time slows down, but their mouth and their voice stays the same. As they talk into the spearhead, not necessarily at you, and they say, "You and I are going to have a little talk after this." And you see, they turn it over in their hand, and they take it. As they're running, you look over, you see Seraphine, regular, without the baby, as beat up as you saw her before, running to get a better position. You see that they lead the shot, and they begin to throw your own spear at them. And as they let go, you see something happen. You see the spear thud and squelch into Seraphine's chest. Just like that, this battle is done. You watch as silver hair is stained with red blood, as they fall to the ground, limp, cracking their lifeless head against the ground. Silence as Vosh watches you. A smile wider than what could be or should be spreads across their face. Their mouth splits up to their ears, past it, up to their antlers, jaw unhinging. And then you hear, "Vos, help!" And you are snapped back to the moment. And you see that the spear did make contact with Seraphine. But she was able to dodge out of the way, and it only caught the sort of coat tail of her overcoat, and she is pinned to the ground, with Vosh still advancing. You see she's beginning to conjure up some sort of magic, but it will take a little bit of time for Vosh to get to her. Just enough time to do something.
The spear is far from me. My instinct is to run toward it. And I do. But the next thought that occurs to me uses a very different tool. And yet again, riding the wave of what I think has worked before, I reach out and attempt to do something similar to what I have just done with Baku. I want to reach a hand out and try to show Vosh a vision of their own death.
Okay. Now, do you think this is wield a power, or do you think this is unleash your divinity? As this would not be something that you would be doing to a willing creature.
I am inclined to use it as an unleash your divinity because I just need a moment of distraction. I would rather guarantee that it works so that I can seize upon it. So it being brief, that's completely fine. I see no reason to risk a roll of the die on it when the effect would be brief anyway, in theory.
When you unleash your awakened divinity, describe how your godhood surges forth as you exert your will upon reality. You accomplish a single brilliant feat with one side effect of your choosing, and you have chosen to make it brief. So explain to me what Vosh sees, and you can extend this vision to show them the consequences past their actual death, if you would like.
They see a version of events in which they take one more step forward. And a pillar of fire just erupts from the ground and fries them on the spot. I want them to fear what will happen if they don't stop now and reconsider this path. In other words, the death that I show them does not actually come from me.
And in this split-second moment, they do pause as they are confused. The god of fire is dead. You're fighting in his corpse right now. Or what's left of it. What will soon be theirs. They don't know who would do this to them at this point. And as they're contemplating this, they stop and they look between Seraphine on the ground and you still up and running, and they say,
Hubris to think that someone would come and help you. This isn't how this works. Osaki, that inept being, called himself a god, but all he could do was watch a screen. This isn't one of those visions in those screens. This is real life. Let me remind you.
Was that enough time for me to get my weapon and get closer?
it would be, but I want you to make a roll. Just a pure luck roll. To see if you can catch possibility out of the air, out of the corner of your eye.
That's going to be a 9.
You're running towards Seraphine to not only check if they're all right, but to regain your weapon. You make it in time, and as you pull the spear out of the ground, freeing her from her spot, she reaches up and grasps for your hand. And as you two make contact, you see those marred and scarred eyes flash in your mind once again. And you understand something that you didn't understand before. You have the physical ability to kill a god due to Chara's assistance. But there is something more to it than just doing enough damage. And the word hubris rings in your mind. It replays over and over and over. And then Seraphine is pushing you out of the way, separating the two of you. And like a delayed reaction, you hear her say, "Watch out!" as Vosh summons forth a wave of mycelium sprouting from this ground and roiling it over itself. Fungus sprouting, reaching for the two of you in a continuous line that travels past you, collides with the fire, and burns away. What would you like to do?
Stop me if this is too much or doesn't make sense. But in the text of Manifest a Miracle, it says, sacrifice a power that you will no longer be able to use again. But in doing so, you manifest it to its fullest potential. I feel that pull to strategize in this moment, and as always, find my mind lacking to the task, and I think about the benefit of becoming invisible. But that only puts their full attention on Seraphine, and frankly, I don't want to be invisible anymore. I know that what I do matters, not just here. It always has, and it will for the rest of my life, and I'm going to live forever now. I need to be seen. I want to be seen, now and forever. And so I reach out, and my intention is to become invisible, not because I cannot be seen, but to the natural conclusion of invisibility, that what you thought was there simply isn't. And in permanently sacrificing my invisibility, I would like to disappear completely from where I was, and instead reappear, functionally teleporting directly behind them.
In the space that it takes you to move from one location to the other, you see as you disappear from this reality, travel through another, and land back where you want to be. You essentially walk through another time. As you look around, the wall of fire is gone. the tsunami is gone. You see a verdant green landscape, large, oversized, multicolored flowers blooming all around you. You see a small cabin off in the distance, illuminated by small twinkling lights caged in glass. There is a soft orange glow around you as you look over and you see a source of light off in the horizon. It is clearly being cut off by the horizon line, a half circle descending down, and it gets darker as it descends. You see a ring of toadstools off to the side of this cabin. And you watch as you're walking towards the front door of this little abode. You see a figure you've never seen before. They open the door and leave it open. They have pointed ears and light green skin that looks a little more yellowish in this fading orange light. You see that their head, there is no hair, as their temple feeds up into a sort of mushroom cap head. They wear clothes that are multicolored and flowing. There is a bounce in their step as they open this door and start to walk past you. But it's more of a mix between a walk and a skip. And they do not stop as you walk forward, and they walk through you as you walk through the doorway of this cabin. And as you step through the threshold, you don't have time to consider what that was, what this place will be, when this was, if it will be, because you are staring at the back of Vosh's head as you take that step.
I will simply try to thrust the spear, gifted side first, straight up through the heart of them. Whether or not I speak will be determined by if this is successful.
As you feel this power to turn truly invisible leave you, you feel the energy bleed into the spearhead, and the spearhead begins to glow with a humming pink energy. I would like you to once again roll to inflict violence. My only question to you now is, are you desperate?
More so now than before. Yes.
So that will be 2d6 plus 3.
That's going to be a 12.
On an overkill 10 plus, you lose yourself to righteous fury. The GM will tell you the cost of your divinity. This strike was intended to be measured and effective. But some prospect of this being the final blow, this being the end to it, it takes you over, and you overcorrect. You strike forward. Where specifically are you trying to hit?
I was trying to go straight up through the heart. Oh, well, actually, that's assuming that I'm shorter. I also have something of an idea. Lose yourself to righteous fury. This righteous fury has been here the whole time. But I think in this moment, what that might manifest as is actually losing my righteous fury. I've talked a big talk this entire time. I have killed many monsters. I have fought people. But I've never truly had to kill a person. And it does not feel like killing a monster. And all of my righteousness, my knowledge that this is the right thing, the ability to compartmentalize that part of my brain, I was a fool to think that just in this I would still be the hunter at the end of the day, be the monster slayer. Try as I might, I can't make this feel good. And if the blow connects, I would have put my chin right up above their shoulder, and I was ready to speak something. Something mocking, something biting, something that challenged their pride. And instead, I just am openly, vocally sobbing directly into their ear.
What would normally kill any other living creature is easily absorbed. You can feel that you're missing something. Some weakness that is to be exploited and that is final. And as you sob into Vosh's ear, they start to chuckle.
Shut your fucking mouth! This means nothing to you. Nothing at all. Just step back. Be a person, or be a god, or be both. Make a choice, but fucking feel something. I don't care if you think you're stronger than me. It won't help you. It won't. I'm sorry. I really am, and I wish I wasn't. I wish this felt good and righteous. I wanted to kill you as a hero, but I am going to kill you as nothing more than a man. I will take no comfort in the fact that that means nothing to you.
How weak.
They say as you pull the spearhead out of their back. You hear a
To think that you can kill me at all.
and before either of you can do anything else, you look over. There is a flash of black and red energy. I wouldn't be so sure if I were you. And a giant non-corporeal hand made out of swirling black and red materializes out of Seraphine's, and Vosh is smacked and thrown all the way across the dome. And as that connects, the impact rings out and is bounced around the acoustics of this dome. And you see, as you look upon Seraphine, you do see her in her environment. The delicate curtains of her chambers, the vanity off to one side. You see her crouched over on the ground as if she's picking up papers that she dropped. And she looks up and she smiles at you. Hello, darling. Did you need something? I'll just be a moment.
Yes, I blink and feel tears on my face, and I don't remember why they're there. Yes, I just don't, I can't remember what. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. No, I think I'm... Well, are you well?
I mean, you know I have to meet with that Duke, or whatever he is, I swear. You see, she puts her 2 middle fingers to her temple and press in as if she has a headache. She cleans up the stack of papers on her vanity and sets them down. She walks up to you and gives you a very sweet kiss as she opens the door once again to walk out into the hall. Before she does, she says, I swear that man's hubris is going to be the death of him one day.
A flash of Vosh's face, and I remember everything. Oh, yes. I'm sorry to see you carry this, stress with you today here, and I reach up to where she was rubbing. Here, allow me, that's no way to walk into a temple. You require someone else to worship. And I begin to rub her temples. And I wish that I could just stay here.
And as you rub her temples, you watch as her face sort of melts at the relaxing sensation, and you feel yourself being pulled backwards. And as you feel yourself being pulled backwards, you see that she opens her mouth and says something, but you don't hear it. And then once you're snapped back to the moment, that's when the words come. I should recall that I myself am no better. It is never wise to think that you're untouchable or that you are innately better. Though I swear it seems like he thinks that we can't do anything to him at all. I've been advised by Father that he needs a bit of a reminder. And you can tell that this conversation would continue on if you were still actually there. but that is all you hear until you are met with heat again. You see Vosh standing up. This time they have a gnarled, rotting walking stick that they're using to prop themselves up. You can see the exertion of this fight and of that blow in their physicality. But it's not over yet.
Is that all? Oh. Once again I am wrong. It's not nothing to you, is it? To be killed by nothing more than what you see as food. It must sting you that we challenge you at all. Step forward, then. The sting will be hotter and brighter for but a moment longer.
You think you're such a big man because you have a little bit of borrowed power. You have no idea what it's like to be one of us. You will never be one of us.
And yet they obey. They hold their walking stick in one hand, don't use it for its intended purpose, instead act like they're about to use it as a club, and they move forward to engage.
I am going to, while their eyes are fixed on me, try to sleight of hand into my pocket, remove a perfect, flat, round stone, and skip it across the ground to Seraphine's feet. Just across a path. And it makes this nice, clean line across the ground. And I am trying to signal to her that this is a feint. That I want Vosh to think that once again, I'm the distraction. And then she's going to do something. But it's kind of it's a double bluff. And I am trying to will to her, you do something. Something that makes them think that that was the primary attack, and that my distraction is now over, and then I will strike. I'm trusting her to do what she's seen me do before.
You see, she doesn't even move to pick up the rock. She barely even looks at it. And as she watches Vosh run to attack you, she steps 1, 2, 3, 4 steps to her left. They begin to mutter something and draw in the air a over-exaggerated casting of a spell, and you can see that Vosh, the temptation to switch attention is there. I need you to roll to challenge someone dangerous once again. 2d6 plus 2.
Another 12.
On an overkill, you push too far. Your target reacts instantly and dangerously. Unfortunately for you, Vosh is smart. And they will not fall for that again. So as Seraphine over-exaggerates the casting of the spell to be a distraction, you see that Vosh sees through this ruse. And as Seraphine finishes the casting of this spell, you see her disappear, that same sort of vortex of energy, and she appears right next to Vosh, which is right in front of you. But Vosh, lightning fast, whips out a hand and catches her by the throat as they simultaneously move to swing and strike you with their club. I am going to say that because this move went too far, that you will suffer 1 strain as you are hit by this walking stick. Vosh has Seraphine by the hand, progressively squeezing more and more. There is no breath to be lost, but you can almost hear the beginnings of ligaments and muscle crunching under the weight of this hand, squeezing.
I see again that vision of Seraphine's death. And I see behind them 1,000 ways that this could still go right. Because I know something now that I need. And I do not give in to fear. Instead, I brandish my spear up. And I conjure up a hunter's frenzy. But it's a performance. And I leap forward, hoping that they believe that I am going for a desperate, stabbing move. But instead, I have the audacity to use something that is new to me. And at the last moment I pivot my neck around, and the fangs elongate, and I bite down on the hand that feeds on us.
The only thing that can hurt the divine is divinity. And you, awakened or not, are divine. As you bite down on the hand that holds your love by the neck, Vosh screams in pain and recoils. Seraphine drops to the ground. An advantage of not needing air to breathe is that she's able to recover pretty quickly. And she grabs the spear at the back, takes one look at you, smirks a little bit. That mischief that you've always known playing across her face. and they say, "Together then."
There has never been any other way. We both turn. Seeing exactly what I expect to find. A look of a being that believes itself superior, experiencing the audacity of this moment to bite. This dirty little thing bit me. And then the sting comes that was promised. Straight up through the heart with the force of 2, each with the force of 1,000 behind them, because we are more than mortal.
And as you move to kill a god, you would normally roll to see what sort of consequences are brought from this. However, you are the first mortal to kill a god, potentially the first and last. This should not be possible. There are those who were born with divinity, but they are still mortal. You've become something else entirely. And so, the universe does not know what to do. You lost your righteousness as this battle raged on. But Seraphine, someone who always believed in the gods, kept them closer to their heart than you ever did. They held on to that righteous fury. And as the two of you thrust up into the ribcage of Vosh, one final scream, screeching out. You watch as light, green light, explodes out of their chest. It fills this dome, and then the light brightens as if it's being turned up and up and up, and you can't see anything. It's now golden. It's now white. It encompasses all of your vision. The dome of fire balloons out and out and out as if this light has any matter to it. It's pushing the boundaries of what is possible, and then the bubble bursts and everything is white. And as you and Seraphine are both blinded and burned by this light, you feel yourself being swept up and away by something dark. And for a moment, your consciousness leaves you. When you wake, you see darkness, a pitch black sky with twinkling lights, not unlike the between space that Baku brought you to before you engaged Vosh in combat. And you realize as the room stops spinning and your eyes come into focus, that you're looking out a window, wide and empty, no doors or shutters to close it off to the elements, no curtains to draw closed. And something feels so familiar about this image. You look around and you see candles upon candles, hundreds of them, thousands even if they're not physically in this space. You can see past what's tangibly here, and you see the candles that came before and the candles that will come after. None of them currently lit. And as you look around this space, you look for Seraphine and you see her also coming to, groggily, their eyes fluttering open as they push themselves up. And in the doorway, as you take in these beautiful dark blue and gold embroidered pillows, you see a figure using one to prop himself up against the door frame so it doesn't dig into his side. And you see the familiar long hair, the dark skin. You can smell the familiar acrid blood of Etuvar as he leans against the doorway, very clearly injured, but you can tell that it's not the same injuries that he would have sustained fighting Syrian. The burning smell that you now catch is fresh. You see steam coming off of the left side of his face. This is an injury that just happened. Fresh. He's not wheezing anymore, and he's not exactly struggling to stay conscious like the last time you saw him. But he is still injured, and as he winces, you see he straightens himself up a little bit. And before you're able to open your mouth to speak to him, and before he's able to say something to you, clocking that you're now waking up and coming to, it feels like you're hit by 100 carriages at once. You hear in the back of your mind, and it quickly grows and grows and encompasses all of your senses, thousands, if not millions, of screams of pain and agony. You can almost feel the sensation of burning alive. It feels like hands are grasping and scratching at your brain, and it almost makes you black out once more from the cacophony of sensation. And you instinctually look towards the window. Would you like to lean in to this instinct? Would you like to focus in more on these voices? What would you like to do?
I can feel the weight and importance of the multiple data points that I'm experiencing at once, all of a sudden. My environment has changed. That's alarm number 1. Atuvar's injury, speaking to a present danger, perhaps, alarm number 2. And then all of these voices and sensations, alarm number 3. And yet, after all of this, the completion of my goal here is still very fresh as far as I'm concerned. It just happened. I didn't even get a chance to process it. So with all of these things swirling around and fighting for my attention, I don't close my eyes, but I do picture in my mind, I will it into my mind, a crystal clear image of my own kitchen that now feels really far away. It feels like a longer ago period of time than it has actually been. But I reach for the memory, the muscle memory sensation of putting all of my morning supplies, freshly washed, my coffee cup, all of those things, fragile, delicate things, up in their proper place on the shelf. And the things I'm putting on the shelf now are all of these data points, not to be forgotten, but to be laid to wait, because I know what my priority is. It has not changed. And I turn and I put out a hand to help Seraphine up. And I look at them and I say, "Are you all right?"
And you see that there is a sort of lingering, not burn mark, almost like a scuff mark, a ghost of Vosh's fingers on their neck. And they rub at it. And she looks up at you and takes your hand, pulling herself up with your assistance and sort of hugging into you, one hand on your chest, looking around, taking in the surroundings for themselves. Yes, I think so. Where are we? And you see that she looks over to Etivar in the doorway and quirks her head. Father, what are we? And that cacophony of screaming is still threatening to take everything over. You can barely hear her, over all of this agony and pain. You're fighting through it to check on your priority first. And you see Etuvar stumbles forward up to the windowsill. Hands, both hands, white knuckling the edge as he looks out and down. And you see light, pure white and golden hued light playing across his face, illuminating it, and you can watch steam begin to rise from it. His skin is beginning to sizzle from the contact, and you see he's pushing through it as he's trying to look as long as he can. I am so glad that the two of you are okay. I do not know what happened just now. I do not know why. But Vos, I need to see what's happening.
I walk up to him And I take his hand in both of mine. And I gently pry 2 fingers out to be more prominent and pull them up and rest them against my own temple. And I let myself wince as he catches my eye, and I ask him, "Who are they? Do you know?"
And what you both see as your vision stretches from screaming vampire to vampire is you see across this entire continent, across the entire world that you call Koe, this light, whatever it is permeating every space it can, every open window, every speck of the outdoors. You see farmers, you see people in buildings but with windows that do not have any curtains. You see buildings, fancy, noble, in the capital, in Etuvaras. People shutting the curtains as quick as they can. You see people out in the streets, running, hiding, banging on strangers' doors to get inside, away from this light that is burning them faster than they know what to do with. It's killing them, and you both can feel it. And you can feel that feeling is coming from Etuvar. Etuvar, while you are hearing everyone's agony, the pain of your newfound brothers and sisters, you can tell that what you're feeling is the actual physical effects passing from Etuvar to you as he is feeling all of his children burning up all at once.
What is there to do? If we go out there, try to help. And I think I try to feel the injury a little bit to get a sense of what it specifically is, and just go, will this happen to us?
Do you follow him and lean over the edge of this windowsill to look down?
I do, but my eyes are unfocused. And instead of looking directly down into the world, I put a hand up to where glass would be if it were there. And flex the pads of my fingers as though they actually are connecting to something. And just gently push up against this phantom glass, this membrane between me and what is, and confidently push all 5 fingers through and stretch, if I can, tendrils of possibility out through my fingers and down into the world to create roads of possibility to see which one I can take to do anything here safely. I believe, for the first time, reaching for the power and what is possible through it as a resource first, before thinking of anything else.
I would like you to roll to wield a power. When you wield a power to do something only a god can, roll 2d6 and add 1 for each true statement. You've done this specific act before, perfectly. Yes. You're desperate for this to work.
Yes.
So you're going to mark 1 strain, but you will add 1 to this roll. You're close to a shrine, lair, or domain of the god you took this power from. Absolutely. So that's 2d6 plus 3.
Do I still have the strain that I had from the battle?
Yes.
I'm at 4.
Ooh, okay.
$13.
On an overkill 10 plus, the GM will describe how you also drain, terrify, or wreck what's around you. Now, if you have an idea for this, I will also take your idea. But you do what you're trying to do successfully. You are able to see the roads of possibility, to see what is possible to be done about this situation. What you see is the death of a civilization in an instant, if nothing is done to intervene here. Are you still touching Etuvar and sharing what you see with him?
If possible, yeah.
The paths that the two of you walk on, I think also you see Seraphine comes up and is also leaning over as far as she can, pushing through the pain herself as her skin is starting to bubble and burn, holding your hand. So the three of you are walking down these paths together. The first path is where nothing is done in time, where the bones of your brethren lay strewn across the world, burned away to ash. And you and Seraphine are amongst a precious few vampires that are left, as this brightness in the sky does not leave. It remains for all eternity until someone or something can figure out what to do. And you would be stuck here until then. The second you see is a sort of corralling and wrestling, light versus dark. You're not sure which one would win. You see a path where light prevails, and that first outcome happens anyways. You see another where the dark prevails, but Etuvar does not, and he is lost. Killed by an unknown. The third, you see a cycle begin to appear. Light, then dark, almost on a timer, circling around the sphere of the world that you can see. A blue marble with green and brown islands and continents in the shape of Koa. You realize you have a bird's eye view of the entire world, and you watch as this light and this dark circle on the same axis in time. And you see a new kind of being, pale but pinkish toned skin, sometimes golden toned skin, sometimes dark brown. A whole spectrum of skin tones that are not of grays and purples. They look like you. Their ears are round. They live and they die. They are not potentially immortal like vampires. And as you move to follow this path further, you are yanked onto another one. And this goes on and on. But something becomes clear the more you try to focus on the ones where the light is diminished or the light is controlled. The three of you get the sense that this is out of your hands. It is now in the hands of those more experienced, of Etuvar and of Halari. You get the feeling that Halari is needed in this space somehow. You don't know where she is. If you call, you think she will come. But how you drain and terrify is Seraphine has not yet seen you wield such godly power. At least not in a way where she can fully process it in the moment. And she watches you bend reality in this space, something you could never do before when you were together. Pulling at possibility and physics, the fabric of the universe. And she's not terrified of you, but she is deeply concerned of the implications. She has a look on her face as if she's realized where you three are. A theory forming in her mind, and she sees uncertainty. As she realizes something about you, she realizes what you've done to get here. But you can also feel that she's fighting it down because she wants to believe that it can be worked out. She meant what she said. She believes anything can be accomplished if you two do it together. But right now she also realizes she's deeply out of her depth. As Etuvar shares in these visions with you in this split second, before he moves to action, is there anything you would like to do?
I think while I'm using this power, my sense of time, it goes awry somewhat. And there's a disconnect between what I'm perceiving and processing and my speech. So I talk a little bit faster than I realize. And I say, Etuvar, call Halari, the word is about to be shared. And then I blink at him. And then move, like, pivot my head in slow motion. And then it stops in place and I kind of come back to myself. Halari, that's who we need. I'm sorry, there's going to be new people.
And time has slowed down. It's like bullet time. But the sensation of pain, of sizzling, you can smell it both from Etuvar and Seraphine, who have willingly looked down and put their faces into the line of fire, as it were, as the light touches them. And Etuvar looks at you, light reflecting off of his silver eyes. Call her yourself. You will need to know these things. I must save my children. And you see he puts one foot on the edge of the window, launches himself off, and you watch him disappear from view. If you were to look over the edge of the windowsill, you would watch a black shape drop down and down and down past a curved, rocky, white surface towards that blue marble that you know houses your home. You would watch as that darkness would spread and spread, fighting against the current of a light that wants to snuff him out. And that tether you had created between the two of you is maintained, not necessarily by you. You can tell that he is wanting you to see what he's doing. And you watch as he begins to run over the world. His aura of darkness swirling and scooping as many of these people up in it, just like he seemingly did with you and Seraphine moments ago. As he's running around the world, gathering people up, depositing them in Etuvaras. You watch this dark speck, though it must be massive from Koe itself. This dark cloud, circle 1, 2, 3, 4. You lose count. In the span of maybe 5 seconds. And on the 5th, you watch him panic as he's done all he can to gather his children in one place to try to figure out how to best protect them. But he's not quite sure how to do it. And you watch as his hair, what is sort of generating this darkness, as it extends long out behind him, you watch him look around. It's swirling behind him, and he realizes something. You watch as he takes that knife. The blood like gems, almost dripping with real blood now. And as he runs in circles around Etuvaras, you watch as he takes his hair from behind him, gathers it all to the front, and he cuts it off. And when he does, it leaves this dark cloud almost doming over the capital city and outward for about 100 miles in each direction. A shield. You can feel that he doesn't know how long it will last, but for now it is enough, and you can feel the pain calm. The light can't get in. And you watch as clerics and medicine people begin to get their wits about them, and they go into crisis mode and they start to tend to their own. You see him on the edge of that bubble. You watch as he sort of lunges back in a sprinter's position, as if he's getting ready to jump as far as he can. But he's panting and he's sweating, something you've never seen a god do before. And as he moves to jump up, that connection is severed. And when you look around the room, you see Seraphine is already investigating, trying to figure out what he meant. If there's anything in the room to be able to call Hilari yourselves. What would you like to do?
I look at Seraphine. I say, "Cover your ears a moment." I drop to my knees, turn my face skyward, and simply shout Hilari's name as loud as I possibly can.
And as you do that, the sound of your voice echoes out into the hallway. And if this were perhaps the halls of House Aranthe, you would say that maybe 3 or 4 doors down, you hear the slamming of a door and the running of footsteps echoing in stony halls. As you see the familiar form of Hilari with her walking stick lantern. But there's more of a glow to her. When she enters the doorway, her pupils are bright orange, almost like the reflective pupils of a cat or another predator. And then they go out quickly. As she stops herself in the doorway, she says, "What? What is it?"
I don't know. I wasn't sure that would work. I'm sorry. I used the power. I looked and I saw that it is you who is needed now. I am sorry for the vagueness, but that is all I know. You are needed.
And you see they look around the room, taking in the fact that you're here. They didn't really blink at that, but now they're realizing the how and the why, the mechanism of why you're here in this room specifically. And surprisingly, Hilari chuckles. Well, of course. Let's see. And snaps his fingers, and the candles all light one by one. In the split second, you watch the flame bounce from wick to wick. Okay, let's see. And she moves over to the windowsill where the light is still pouring in, looks over and down. Oh, that's where that came from. Okay, what are you? And you notice that the light is not hurting her. There's no effect. It's just light playing across her face. And you watch as her eyes widen and widen and widen unnaturally as she looks with the knowledge of a god. And she begins to almost hyperventilate. You two stay here. He's not going to make it. I can see him. He's slowing down. And you see, for a second time, a god jumping out of this window. And you wait. You wait maybe 5, 10, 15 seconds. Dead silence. And then the light diminishes. And then you hear a second explosion of the day. The room shakes violently. It sounds like an earthquake, matter coming up from below. Positionally, if you were looking at the door, it would be coming from your right. And Seraphine, throwing almost all caution to the wind, grabs your hand and says, we need to go see what's going on.
I am in no position to disagree. Come on.
And the two of you run down this hallway to your right. You're passing door after door. It's maybe 3 or 4 doors that you pass. Each beautifully decorated on the outside. You pass one that is covered in moss and vine, in leaves, in roots of trees. You pass one that almost shifts and moves. You feel a gust at your back as you blow past it, the smell of ozone in the air. And then you see one glowing with light. You see it sort of cuts a plane of light as light pushes out the cracks of the door. Seraphine stops and hesitantly puts one finger across into one of the planes of light. And it doesn't burn. You can see fresh rubble in crumbs around the bottom of the door frame. I think this is it. Do we knock or...
Sure.
And...
Wait. Maybe let me. I do.
And you knock on the door. And it opens. And you're flooded with light. It washes over you as you step into this room. It's very bare. There's nothing but a crib and a chair. As Etuvar, seemingly now healed, his hair still short, now hitting around his armpits rather than all the way down to the backs of his calves, opens the door and greets you. Well, that was certainly something new for all of us, wouldn't you say?
It's not the first thing I would say. But it's in the mix, I'm sure.
Come in. I think the two of us can explain what's happened. But it's easier to show you. And as you enter more fully into this room, you see Hilari cradling something in her arms. White and gold cloth swaddling a baby's face. Yellow skin with very aquatic features. White, curly hair. And a glow emanating off of this baby. Okay, I think we figured it out. Vos, Seraphine, meet the dawn? And holds forth as much as you can, sort of shrugs shoulders forward. As you realize that this is a baby god, a newborn god.
I don't hesitate to take him. Him?
Well, you don't know, but...
And I smile at him goofily, yet again ignoring the god part of the equation. Well, hello, the dawn. What do you think?
And you see that this baby, who had its eyes closed, almost sleeping, opens them at your question. Eyes burning yellow, glowing white hot. And though there are no words, you feel communication between the two of you, mind to mind. An image placed in your head. You see from a third person's perspective, you and Seraphine plunging Chara's spearhead into Vosh. The pure, righteous fury and intent behind the death of this god exploding forth into something new. As Vosh, in their dying moments, tried their very best to cast a curse on the both of you, that energy mixing with this newfound divine explosion, as somehow mortal and immortal, the divine and the long-lived, two children of the gods, just in two different ways, doing something that's never been done and should have never been possible, creating something new. But you can feel the incorporealness, it's just energy, until two hands, one pink and one black, scooped that energy up and compressed it down together, using both of their strengths, intimacy, and fire. Fire which generates light and heat. Death which pulls at the threads of mortality. And the cold which controls that heat. Compressing that energy down into a new being entirely. Creating something, creating someone to control this creation that started with you and Seraphine.
I look up at the gods, but I keep holding on to the child. I can see the beauty in the parts of your world I do not understand. I should be overwhelmed with the grief of the lives lost and pain caused, and the remorse for my part in it. But I hold this child, and I see in its eyes so much possibility. And I have seen more new life spreading across the world, beautiful, different. And I cannot regret their existence any more than I can regret the existence of this one here. And so death and birth, sorrow, and joy have to live in me in a way that I do not have a word for. And that is what you are. That is what you are. And I just live in that for a moment until someone else speaks.
So, are you two their parents, or are we? How does this work? Where are we? And you see, as Seraphine steps forward towards Etuvar, sort of craning her head to look at this baby, Etuvar chuckles a little bit. My dear, you are in the home of the gods. You see, Vos here is... Well, he's taken on the responsibility of one of us, and so he has his own room. Decorated in Osaki's fashionings, it may be. There will be time to explain the ins and outs of what that means. But for now, I think there is enough work to be done in ensuring that Polare here is taught the ways of their new domain, and we get back to ensuring our own people are safe.
Anything I can do to that end will be done. I swear that. And I, turn back to Seraphine. I understand that I have an oath to you, layered upon the existing, more personal one. I have a job to do. I know that. And I accepted this responsibility thinking it was just a tool to be used by a man. I cannot pretend that it is so simple a thing. I did accept this responsibility and responsibility to you. I do not wish for them to conflict, but I cannot forsake one in favor of the other. And I'm sorry that I cannot keep my promise to always give you my full attention. Only a little more than as often as I can.
And she walks back over to you, puts both hands on your chest, takes you in indulgently and for as long as she wants to, lingering on the bright red, sparkling nature of your eyes. And as you talk, the sharpness of your two canine teeth. I never asked you for your full attention. That's something you placed on yourself. All I ask is that you're a little more ready to compromise. Even if you had not sworn an oath to protect me and serve me, I would still want to know that this time we're going to stick together.
But of course, only today beneath the dawn is my world finally gray. but not in the matter of you. Not you.
Well, that's good, because I don't plan on leaving you again. I've had to live with that aspect of regret for far too long. I don't know if I can join you here again. She looks around the room. But even if I could, I don't know if I would want to. We're very high up, and I don't like that feeling.
Right. Well, I think perhaps we will conclude our business quickly. Etuvar, Halari, I do not know the depth of what will be asked of me today or forever. But I have goals. I want to help guide this world if I can. The skills of my previous life are not forgotten. For everything that I can see, I still have a sharp eye and a strong hand and a reliable weapon at my disposal to enact the greatest good, but I will need help and guidance myself from you now, Father. I must confide in you that when I met Osaki, I saw in his eyes a numbness to the possibilities that he had lived with so long. I do not think that he did not care, but it seemed as though knowing all had taken its toll. That he was not able to live with it as a mortal might. I do not think I am capable of becoming that. I will not let this power live in me that way. For every possibility, I will feel it. And with any luck, that will help guide me to the right outcome. All I need now is a first step.
And you see Etuvar, who previously was smirking and looking at Seraphine, the irony of someone who previously had lived in the mountains, saying they did not enjoy being so high up, was not lost on him. And he flicks his gaze over to you and nods his head. Of course. There are some of us here who would prefer you learned by doing. But those of us, like Hilari and myself, are not so cruel. Anything that I can provide, I will. It seems things are going to be very different now. I do not know what the future holds. It seems only you can. But if we work together in tandem, I'm sure we can ensure your brothers and sisters and Seraphine and you can all lead happy, successful, fulfilling lives with whatever this new status quo will be. And you see, as he says that, he grabs the swaddled polare, he called them, out of your arms and starts bouncing the baby.
Well, I think what the future holds is us. All of us, God and mortal, in its arms, like children. And it falls to us to to outgrow its rigid expectations. It shapes us toward it to a point, and then we shape it back. So when the future dies and is reborn as the present, we are all the better for it.
And you notice that when Etuvar takes possession of the swaddled child, its eyes still starkly open, staring at you almost unnaturally, not blinking. Eyes fixed on you the whole time. And as you finish that thought, it does a sort of small hiccup. They sort of just go in that baby way, trying to vocalize something, even though if it's not words. And they go back to sleep. Etuvar hands Polare off to Hilari. You two should return. Help see what needs to be done. You are, after all, still members of a noble house. I will join you shortly, but I must help Hilari finish setting up this room. Let me see if I can help ease your travel. And you see he puts 2 fingers in his mouth and does a high-pitched whistle. And you hear the flapping of wings and a gust of air. And in steps a pale gray with blue tinge to the skin woman, white hair flowing behind her, 2 gray eagle's wings stretching out. She's wearing white flowing finery, sky blue eyes, and blue pattern markings on her face. Yes, Etuvar? Farir, do you mind taking Vos and Seraphine back to Etuvaras for me? Oh, it wouldn't be no thing. We are, after all, old friends. And you see, there is a window as well in this room, but it has sort of 2 doors that open out. You watch as Farir, goddess of the wind, opens these windows, crouches on the balls of her feet as her body shifts and forms into that of a bird person. A very familiar bird person. Bigger than she usually is, but you watch as Farir takes the form of your neighbor Essie.
Well, I suppose that serves me right, doesn't it?
Well, don't suppose yourself special. You moved in after me, if you would recall.
No matter. Had I known, history shows I probably would have treated you the same. And you'd still be sipping a warm cup flavored with vanilla.
mind, I wouldn't have it any other way, she says, switching back to her regular voice. Well, are the two of you coming or not? I have stuff to do.
I reach a hand out for Seraphine to take.
What strangeness you've gotten yourself into. I guess I can't complain. I've always admired the gods and their ways. Shall we go back to work then?
Forward to work, yes. I know this is a lot to take in. Perhaps not exactly what you signed up for. But you really are amazing.
Says the man who became a god.
That feels like a bit of an oversimplification, but I am still me. At least I think so.
Yes, and when this day is done, and we have a moment to rest, all I will want is to lay in bed with you. But we can't do that if we don't return home. Now, can we?
Well, you don't have to tell me. I'm still waiting. What are we doing? And then I took their hand for a reason. Are we going? Can we go?
Yes, we can go.
Okay.
Father, lovely to see you. We'll see you shortly. Lady Hilary, it has been a pleasure. Hopefully we'll see each other again. Goodbye, the dawn. It was nice creating you? I don't know. And she looks to Farir and starts to get onto her back. She's like triple the size that she usually is. Really, all this time? So every time I would make an offering or pray to you, you were just right there. That's amazing. And the two of them start to have like a small conversation, hushed and giggled. If there's anything else you would like to say to Etuvar, Polare, or Hilari in this moment.
No, I don't think I will. I think there's content silence, because this moment is proving to me that life is still going to have surprises when it matters. And in this moment, I realize that I mean, really, who I am cannot be diminished by any of this. And I look to Seraphine and I think, no, beyond that, I'll get brighter.
And as you are brought down back to the earth, you see the light of the dawn waning behind the curve of the world. You didn't even realize or know that there was more to this world than Koe. You thought Koe was the world. You don't know where that light is going. But based on your vision, you know it will come back. But for now, couched in godly darkness, the light of the world wanes back to its usual darkness. And you go back to Etuvaras, and for the rest of the waking day, you are immediately set to work. You watch Seraphine in their element, meeting after meeting, delegation and action. And at the end of this day, when there is no more left to do, there is just to wait, to have reports sent back, and then do it all again tomorrow. Seraphine draws a bath in a big clawfoot tub, adds oils and flowers. It smells like roses and lavender in a mix that complements nicely. She gets in, submerging herself and relaxing against the back of the tub, and just holds out a hand, resting it on the edge, calling for you.
I come in, but I leave my hat on. And when I get in, I smile and I take it off and I put it on her head. I go, I was thinking, still holding their hand. I was thinking tomorrow, when our work here is done, I would take a jaunt out into the world for a spell. I would like to try and see if I can where those new people are starting to form. The ones with their round ears that walk in daylight. I find them interesting, and they're going to be... Well, I don't know how they're going to be, but I imagine being new to the world, they're going to be confused, and to them, we might seem frightening, alien, perhaps. It might be best to get ahead of that. To contact them first. What do you think?
I think that's an excellent idea. And if I'm honest, this whole getting kidnapped thing has shown me that I've been cooped up in this house for far too long. I think traveling and seeing the world again would do me some good. I think we should start with Yali, don't you?
Well, at your discretion, my lady. It is not my place to disagree.
And my discretion tells me that I think first, before everything, that we should just stay here like this until the water runs cold. And I cast another spell to heat it up again.
Really? You need a spell for that? My lady, you underestimate me. Let us see how long I can hold my breath.
And as we fade off from this moment, we flash forward into the future a little bit. The two of you on the road, keeping careful to not stray into the dawn light when it comes, seeking shelter as needed, finding that there is now a rhythm to what is now called the day and night cycle. The time there is dark, you are able to make travel time, and during the day is when you would sleep and discuss what's to come next. It is a comfortable rhythm as you look all across the world for these new people with strange colored flesh and round ears that seem to keep a schedule opposite of yours based on the vision. At one point, you are called back to the house of the gods. You can always see it now. At nighttime, it is illuminated by the echo of the dawn shining against it. It is a round, white world of its own. It disappears for the most part when the dawn light comes back around. But sometimes it's still visible, pale, but still a reminder that the gods are up there and have always been watching. You are explained the rules of your room, what it means to be among them, what they expect from you. And Hilari and Etuvar, and surprisingly Pishki, the goddess of nature, are the main three that sort of hold your hand during this process. And you watch as Polare grows at an alarmingly fast rate. They are a toddler, and then a child, and then a teenager in the span of maybe 2 to 3 weeks, gaining control and understanding of their responsibility and their power alongside you. And you watch as they take their first trip down to the mortal world to walk amongst it in the dawn light. And they are profoundly lonely. And they do this more and more. There are some who were not vampires, simply creatures of the dark, who struggle to maintain their life in the dawn, but they're not actively hurt by it. But even that is sparse and few and far between, and this loneliness grows and grows and grows until one day, the loneliness of a child wanting peers and companionship becomes too much. And you and Seraphine walk up to a cabin somewhere in the countryside. You knock on the door and you see Polare opens the door. Hello, brother.
Well, fancy seeing you here.
Would you like to come in?
Yes, of course. How far into the future is this? From where we last were?
This is only like a month.
A month, okay.
But you see here that Polare is a young teen, maybe 13 at the oldest, still with that golden yellow skin and those bright burning yellow eyes. The white curly hair has been styled into these thick dreads that fall back and down. These sort of aquatic features, like a flat brow, nose, and these finned ears. They wear, similarly to Farir, white and gold embroidered finery. I would like you to meet my new friend. And you see, sitting on the floor, playing with some sort of board game, moving pieces around a board. You see a child roughly the same age as Polare in visage, but they're one of them. Tanned brown skin, rounded ears. Dawnlight streaks in and dapples through a curtain, and they sort of run their fingers through it before, once again, idly shuffling around the game pieces. And it hits you. These were not people that were just evolved from what was already there. These are a people created. One of Polare's first acts was to create a people that could keep them company.
Now, I've been out at this point, absolutely using the power to essentially look for these people and where they're going to pop up. Now, what are the chances that before I opened this door, that the whole reason I even came here is because I had already seen this and knew this to be true?
I think we can roll one more roll of this story to wield a power. And depending on the result, we'll see how much you know before you came across this cabin.
6, 7, 8, 9. So a 9, not an overkill, right on the border.
On a hit, you do it. You absolutely knew what you would find. But the sight of it doesn't make it any more affecting.
What a surprise. Just the man I wanted to see. Well, can I, fix everyone something to eat?
And this kid looks up from the board game and looks at you and Seraphine and looks between the pair of you and Polare, eyes wide and smiling. Yeah, I could eat. Who are you?
Forgive me. I take off my hat and place it on my chest and bow. I am Vosh. A friend of... Well, a friend of Polare.
Oh, okay. Here, I'll show you where the bowls are, I guess. Looking at Polare, and Polare sort of nods. Hello, pretty lady. And Seraphine chuckles. Hello to you, too.
I do a little bit of sleight of hand as I'm sort of moving one hand around pulling bowls and things. The other one slips something out of my pocket. And I pick my hat back up from where I had rested it on a counter or something. And I slip this thing into the hat. And then I reach in and I pull it out like a magic trick. And I hold before this kid a perfect, smooth, flat rock. And I kneel down and I hold it up. I say, "Tell me, young one, have you yet heard the story of a perfect thing?"
No, but that's a cool rock.
I look knowingly at Seraphine. "It is better if we tell it together, no?"
And as the two of you move in to sort of meet this new creation, we see a small black bird sail through the air. Just as the door is about to close, it slips through the gap and lands on Seraphine's shoulder. As you begin to tell the story of a perfect thing, Seraphine adding sound effects and pantomime. Through an open window, we move our periphery. It was previously dark. The interior of this room lit by lantern light. But we slowly see the room begin to fill with light. As the dawn rises once more in the sky. As the four of you enjoy what's to come of the future of Koei. Light and dark, camaraderie and friendship, combating loneliness, forging bonds, as a brighter future unravels into the present. Godkiller Retribution is a Chance Encounters production. Your GM, producer, sound designer, and editor is myself, Asteria. The voice of Vos, our Godkiller, is Ian Frost. Godkiller First Blood Edition is by Connie Chung, available on itch.io for purchase. Music provided by Ian Frost and Monument Studios. See you next time, lovers. Okay. We did it.
Now you have options.
We did it. We did it. We did it. We did it. Yes.